Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the first ever Metaverse Fashion Week. My name is Justin Banon, and I am the co-founder of Boson Protocol and Boson Portal. This is Jonas, who's our Web3 director.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Again, thanks for coming to Metaverse Fashion Week, and particularly for coming along to our event, Boson Forum, The Age of Metaverse Commerce. So our Boson Portal Fashion District is now live in Decentralised, where you can shop for physical products as NFTs powered by Boson Protocol technology. We're delighted to have partnered with brands such as Tommy Hilfiger, Seiferth, and X to create this incredible experience.
Cool. And today we're going to tell you a bit more about metaverse commerce and what it means to sell physical products as NFTs in the metaverse.
Okay.
To get into it, Justin, maybe you want to talk a bit about why existing e-commerce solutions are not fit to address kind of metaverse commerce and the use case there.
Thanks, Jonas. I think you've given me the slide on the assumption that I was there for Web 1, therefore I'm best placed to speak about it. I get it. So in Web 1, when we first saw commerce come along in Web 1, it was, you'd see like travel agents, for example, would, instead of trying to sell travel on a website, they would kind of they would create a website with a beach and a deck chair, and it would say, if you would like to book travel, visit our store in the high street and come and you can come and book travel. And that wasn't e-commerce. That was like plugging the old telephone directory into the web. And similarly, plugging an e-commerce flow into the metaverse is not metaverse commerce. So one of the things we want to show you today is that metaverse commerce is not 3D e-commerce. It's not about plugging an e-commerce flow into the metaverse. Okay. So let's move on to Web 2 then. For the Web 2 platform paradigm, basically, you've got a buyer, you've got a seller, but the buyer and seller can't trust each other. So if a buyer wants to buy something from a seller on eBay, in order for them to execute their transactions, they rely on this intermediary, for example, eBay, to settle the transfer of digital value or monetary value, and also to ensure the delivery of the goods. And so these intermediaries sort of settle transactions and manage any disputes between the buyer and the seller. The other thing that is that the transactions themselves are locked within a siloed database. So there's no connection between a buyer and seller commerce transaction on eBay and a similar transaction on Amazon. They're all sort of locked away. And so in this paradigm, what you have is these kind of centralized intermediaries with an enormous amount of control over the platform, over the network, which gives them the ability to extract huge fees. And everything is very, very locked into this kind of this centralized model. And that model itself is what Boson Protocol disrupts.
Yeah, and just to slightly add to that, I think one major restriction that we see here is that innovators are not able to build on top of the stack, right? If you want to come along and build a great kind of metaverse commerce application, you just can't pick up essentially the tools of a Web 2 platform and build your solution on top. And this is the problem we've seen kind of play out multiple times in this paradigm. Yeah. And so it's fundamentally too static to address kind of evolving needs that the system has.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And, for example, if Jonas were to tokenize his car, and I were to, or let's say if Jonas wanted to sell his car using a Web2 platform, and I were to sort of buy that car, it's a very fixed and linear transaction from Jonas to me. There's no way that I could, set a price, agree to purchase the car from Jonas and then kind of onward sell that right to buy the car, or it's very, very linear and fixed, and that's in contrast to Boson Protocol. So if we contrast this previous Web 2 paradigm with Boson Protocol, what we have done with Boson Protocol is that settlement layer that was fixed within your eBay or Amazon. We have taken that and put it into a piece of what's called public infrastructure. So it's a Web3 settlement layer. It's built on Web3 technology. It's on a path to full decentralization. So essentially, it's a public infrastructure that settles any transaction between a buyer and a seller using a combination of game theory to ensure that buyer and seller behave fairly, and also, if necessary, escalation to an independent dispute resolver or even a fully decentralized dispute resolver. And so, what you see is this kind of smart contract that manages the exchange of values, a game that encourages fair play, and then an ultimate sort of arbiter. And so that's your kind of settlement layer that anyone can plug into, and we call this it's like the TCP/IP for commerce, or this universal settlement layer for commerce. And then in addition, whereas in a Web2 platform, all of those transactions are locked within a centralized database. With Boson Protocol, we tokenize these transactions, and we tokenize them as NFTs that can sort of flow around DeFi. And perhaps, Jonas, you can just talk a little bit about how we do that.
Sure. So essentially, how we enable these tokenized transactions is that we take the guarantees that we get from the settlement layer, kind of this trust solution between buyer and seller, and we apply them to these tokens. And how this works is that instead of a buyer buying a physical product directly from the seller, they buy a redeemable NFT that they can either exchange, so redeem for the real world good, or they can trade it, transfer it, use it in DeFi, all of those great things. And kind of the fascinating thing here is, on one part, these have the same trust guarantees as the settlement layer. So if you own one of these redeemable NFTs or NFT vouchers, how we like to call them, you can be certain that you will either be able to redeem it for the physical good, or you will get your money back. And the second great point is, if you think back to the e-commerce model, where all these transactions live in a siloed database, now all of a sudden, with these NFTs, they're free to flow across this whole kind of Ethereum blockchain infrastructure, be used in DeFi to collateralize loans, and all of this great stuff. And we think this is so fundamental that we like to call this like blood cells in the circulatory system. So this is a bit of what you see in this graphic.
Yeah, we should actually credit that term to our good friend Trent, the co-founder of Boson Protocol, who probably nearly 2 years ago now said, that he sees Boson Protocol as thing tokens, like red blood cells flowing through a circulatory system, which is controlled by the Boson token, and sort of Ocean doing something similar with data tokens controlled by the Ocean token. Absolutely.
And just to add to the settlement layer, taking a step back, I always like to reference that one of the first sentences in the Bitcoin introduction is that commerce has come to rely almost exclusively on financial intermediaries. So this was like one of the core ideas. We can't just rely on these financial intermediaries to send digital value online to do commerce. And I think, so we obviously agree with that. And we're taking it one step further, which is we can't solely rely on these market intermediaries, right? Like these marketplace intermediaries that provide the trust to do commerce online. And with these independent dispute resolvers and the game theory have, what is really fascinating, what I think, is that we see now like we unbundle these platforms and create open markets. So anybody can come along and essentially propose a new game theoretic mechanism to this protocol. Anybody can come along and propose and offer their services as an independent dispute resolver. And this is really what kind of drives this network and is the nature of these kind of open protocols that we're building in this space.
So that, I guess that's kind of, and you know, Boson has two parts. There's this deep tech with all of these kind of super smart, maybe we've got about 9 PhDs and some of the best people in the world working on this deep tech layer. But what most people see, and I'm guessing what the majority of people love, is the really cool tech that Boson enables. And so maybe we should let's move on to some of those ideas.
Yeah, the cool tech. So what can you do with these redeemable NFTs, these NFT vouchers, once you have them in a solution like we've built? And especially for metaverse commerce, we picked out kind of 3 core features that we think are essential here. And the first one is gamification. So you can actually see a picture there of our DCL environment. And a core driver here, why this is great to address metaverse commerce, is that we're able to build these gamified experiences. So what we previously built there is, for instance, to buy a physical product, you first have to complete this quest in the metaverse. The next one is a tradability of these vouchers, which is essentially these vouchers, like we previously said, can flow across all this DeFi infrastructure, different NFT marketplaces. And with this, we attach this whole kind of rich life cycle to a physical product in this digital world. And the third one is programmability. So we have a highly customizable protocol. And just to give you an example of an exciting feature that comes out of this is what we call token-gated purchases. So token-gated purchases essentially mean that only the holder of a certain token, like a certain NFT, or only the holder of a certain amount of tokens, like an amount of ERC20 tokens, can buy an offer to a product. And this is essential, we think, to kind of working together with these thriving NFT communities. So if you have, for instance, like an exclusive physical drop that you want to do only around your community, with our protocol, you can easily set up this drop to be exclusive to people that hold a Bored Ape or a Cool Cat or a Dead Fella and all these kind of great NFTs.
I mean, you described those kind of features really well there, Jonas. And I mean, you know, what really kind of amazes me is, given this toolkit, working with a lot of these brands and creators, just the incredible things that they are creating with these tools. And I guess, you know, we could summarize this gamified, tradable, programmable, you know, kind of concept as, imagine if anything could be represented as an NFT with the same properties that we associate with all NFTs. And so that kind of moves to this concept of, you know, kind of, you know, when we say anything, you know, what type of things do we mean? So I think what we're really talking about here is this kind of combination of digital, physical, and experiential. And perhaps, Jonas, you can sort of like talk us through what that means.
Sure. So on the first glance, these might seem like three different things, right? Like a digital wearable that is an NFT, a physical product, and experiences. But we think about this quite differently. We think actually these are like three things that come together in one offering. And what we have there in the middle, the Dolce & Gabbana suit that we bought for $1 million, I think a bit more than a year ago, is a great example of what this looks like merging these three propositions together. And we bought this at the time, and I personally think that Dolce & Gabbana are like the first major brand that realized this unique proposition and where this space is going. Because if you buy this suit, you do not only get the physical handmade suit, but you also get wearable, so you can wear the suit in the metaverse, in virtual environments, and you get access to kind of unique real world experiences. And these are not three separate offers. This is all kind of combined in this one NFT, Dolce & Gabbana sold. And we think this use case is really key of combining these kind of three different propositions into one. And this is exactly what we enable with the protocol, which is any brand, any creator can come along and create an offering like Dolce & Gabbana did with their suit.
Absolutely. And so, over the last few months, we've been working with a lot of brands with Boson Portal, and you're going to see a lot of events and a lot of excitement about those brands over Metaverse Fashion Week, and we're also sort of developing this next set of activations. And perhaps, Jonas, you can kind of talk us through using all of these features of Boson Protocol V1 and V2, which is about to launch in a couple of months. What are some of these exciting sort of activations and experiences look like?
So here we have a good example that we put together for this. I'm just kind of going to run you through it quickly. So here we have a user, right, that goes into a real world physical store and they see a hero item. In this case, a super rare physical sneaker, right? But there's a catch to it. They can't just buy this physical sneaker like that. It's not possible. They first have to complete a quest in the metaverse. And so this is what we mean here with like treasure hunt. So this could be like a treasure hunt in the metaverse that allows somebody that finds the treasure to unlock the offer to this exclusive sneaker. So once they completed that and they're the ones that found the treasure, they're able to buy this redeemable NFT for the sneaker. And then we have this whole kind of digital life cycle to this physical product, which is then this sneaker can be sold on OpenSea. It can flow across DeFi, all the great properties that NFTs have. But what we expect the user to do in the end, because these NFTs have a life cycle, as you experience in buying something in Portal, at a certain point of time, the redeemable NFT expires. So what we expect the user to do is to come along and then redeem this for the real world physical good, for the real sneaker. And so this is just like in a nutshell, an example experience that you can build with this that kind of bridges the real world and virtual environments.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, as Jonas said, that this is like one example of some of these activations that we're building with partners. And I guess the common themes are this digital, physical, and experiential, and also this sort of merging between, and up until yesterday, I would have said the metaverse and the universe. But I had a prep call with the amazing Kathy Hackle, and I learned from Kathy a new meme, which we'll be using exclusively, which is the metaverse to the metaverse. And that's kind of a real key of, a theme of what Boson Protocol enables and all these great experiences that we're building.
Yeah, and we strongly believe, right, that the future of commerce is built on these kind of open Web3 protocols. It revolves around digi-physical items and kind of creating a coherent experience and bridging the metaverse and the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you look at how humans over the last 10 or 20 years have gone from being exclusively physical items to now it's kind of quite unusual and probably quite uncool to meet a human who doesn't have some sort of digital shadow. We see this happening with all the contact that we're having with brands, starting with, the kind of luxury and hero items. It's now becoming normal and expected that if you buy a high-end luxury pair of sneakers or handbag, a physical, that it will come with a digital. And likewise, what Boson Protocol is enabling is that if you buy a digital wearable, that it will come with a physical, all delivered via this same NFT form factor. And so this kind of merging of digital, physical items, experiences, and worlds is something that we see happening very, very rapidly at the moment.
So here you can see the map of our space. If you're in Decentralised, you can also see it in kind of the bottom right corner of your screen, the collection of all the great brands and NFT projects that joined us for Metaverse Fashion Week. And so this is a really exciting day for us. The team has been working on it, getting this all together, getting this beautiful space built for the last few months. And just as a side note, I think we will have like more announcements on this later. But for Metaverse Fashion Week, we also have a marketplace, a liquidity mining program, what we call a shop and earn. So for each NFT voucher bought and redeemed during Metaverse Fashion Week and a few weeks after, we will give out 100 Boson tokens as a reward. And I think this is really great also to get kind of a broader token distribution and fair governance within this system. Justin, do you want to add to the kind of great street and fashion district that we've created here?
Yeah, I mean, just to say that, thanks to the team that have worked, the Boson Protocol and Portal team who've worked literally day and night, because of course, right at the last minute, we had a huge rush of brands wanting to come in and working to onboard them. And thanks to all our partners as well. I mean, there's a real ethos in Web3 of collaboration, working together, and that's really kind of supported and helped deliver this amazing experience. But I guess for those who are not in Decentraland and in the fashion district right now, Jonas, could we maybe give them a preview of what they're missing and what they need to dive into?
Sure, we have a cool video on it.
Brilliant.
Sorry if the sound was a bit off there. I don't know if I took the proper settings before screen sharing. But yeah, this is a great preview of the space, and I think we encourage everyone just to jump in. Everyone, right, like Decentraland, you can load it up just in your browser. You just need a Web3 wallet. You can jump in, explore the space, and buy physical items as NFTs.
Cool. Okay, so we have a couple of questions. So mostly, I mean, the first one is how to become a supplier on the platform. you want to handle that one, Jonas?
Sure. So currently we have a bit of a kind of more managed experience in this Portal fashion district, right? Where we're working closely with these brands to build kind of the greatest experience possible. So if you want to become a supplier, I assume supplier means selling things on the platform. Yeah. If you want to become a supplier, just reach out to us. But with what we're currently doing, our SDK, our Metaverse SDK, and the launch of V2, in the next few months, we will open this up to anyone. So anyone should be able to easily pick up the tooling that we're building and create experiences like we've built in Portal without even getting in contact to us. So this is what we really strongly value, this permissionless protocol that underlies this, and kind of having this permissionless nature of using this tech and applying it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, to echo what Jonas has said, and in fact, once we launch V2, or actually prior to the launch of V2, we will also be opening grant funding. You know, our aim is to integrate with every virtual world, and you know, to have funding open for you know, everyone to integrate with Boson Protocol and be able to use it to create these amazing experiences on their own.
Great. All right. I think we're pretty much up on time.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
everybody.
thanks, everyone.